We live in a world that is always, and I mean always, changing. So here's a big question for you. Is your financial plan some kind of rigid relic from the past, or is it a living, breathing strategy that can actually keep up? Let's dive in and figure out how to build a plan that's really ready for anything life throws at.
And look, this is a totally fair question. Why even bother making a financial plan when life is just so unpredictable, right? A job change, a wild market swing, a new baby. Any one of these things can completely throw a wrench in the works. And honestly, that thought right there stops so many people from even starting. But what if we've been looking at it all wrong? What if the point of a plan isn't to predict the future, but to prepare for it?
This really gets to the heart of a huge misconception. So many of us think of a financial plan like a fixed blueprint for a house, something rigid that just cracks and shatters under pressure. But a modern plan, a good plan, is way more like a living roadmap. It's not fragile, it's flexible. It's not meant to break with change, it's designed to be your guide through change because it fully expects your life to evolve.
So let's just bust that myth right now. A great financial plan isn't afraid of unpredictability. Its entire reason for being is to help you handle it. So think of it less like some dusty document you file away and forget about, and more like an active, living tool you use to navigate the journey ahead. And this brings us to this core idea, dynamic financial planning. Now, this is way more than just a fancy term. It's a fundamental shift in how we think about our finances. It means your plan is built from the ground up to be flexible and responsive. In this kind of model, adaptability isn't just a nice little feature. It's the entire operating system. So what really makes a plan dynamic? Well, it's all about balance. It keeps that long-term vision, retirement, big life goals, in sight, while also having the short-term flexibility to handle any detours along the way. It anticipates change instead of just reacting to it, and by using this constant feedback loop, it stays centered on the most important thing of all, your actual life, not just the numbers on a spreadsheet. It's human-centric.
Okay, so where does most of this change even come from? Well, it starts with you. Your life is basically a series of chapters, and a dynamic financial plan is designed to evolve right alongside every single one of them. Think about it. Your financial priorities naturally shift over time. When you're just starting your career, it's all about accumulation, taking some risks for that long-term growth. But then, maybe you start a family, and suddenly the focus shifts to protection, things like insurance. Then you hit your peak earning years, and you're in this amazing position to maximize savings. And finally, as you get closer to retirement, the whole game changes again. This time, it's all about preserving what you've worked so hard to build. The strategy just adapts to whatever matters most at each stage.
So what are the actual triggers for an update? Well, think about any major life event, a promotion, a new baby, a career change. Heck, even just a simple shift in what you want out of life is a totally valid reason. These moments don't break the plan, they're exactly what the plan was built for. They're basically signals telling you, hey, it's time to review and adjust course.
And it's not just about the hard facts of your life. It's also about how you feel. The amount of risk you were totally comfortable with in your 20s might give you sleepless nights in your 40s. A truly dynamic plan is human-centric. It adapts not just to your balance sheet, but to your emotional comfort too.
Of course, change doesn't just come from our personal lives. The world outside our front door is constantly in motion. So now let's take a look at how a dynamic plan is also designed to weather all those external forces. One of the key tools for managing that external risk is what's called dynamic asset allocation. So when you're younger, you have a much longer time horizon, which means your portfolio can be geared more toward growth. But as you get closer to a big goal, like buying a house or retiring, the plan strategically and gradually shifts toward more stable assets to lock in your gains. It's this constant rebalancing act between growth and safety, and it's always tailored to where you are in your life's journey.
Now, when it comes to market volatility, let's be real. The goal of a dynamic plan isn't to perfectly time the market. That's just impossible. Instead, it's all about having a disciplined process. It gives you a framework to help you stay the course during a downturn, and it keeps you from making those panicked, emotional decisions we all regret later. The key takeaway here is this. It's about consistency in your process, not trying to predict the future.
And it's not just about market swings either. A dynamic plan has to be responsive to other external factors too. For instance, what happens if tax laws change? All of a sudden, your retirement strategy might become a lot less effective. A plan that gets reviewed regularly can be tweaked and adjusted to optimize for the new rules and protect your return.
So we've covered the what and the why, but how does this all actually work in practice? How do you keep this living roadmap of yours current and accurate?
The secret is actually a pretty simple, repeatable process.
It all starts with scheduling regular reviews. At least once a year is great, and definitely after any major life event. This is your dedicated time to reassess everything. Are my goals still the same? Has my comfort with risk changed? From there, you can make deliberate, thoughtful adjustments. It's a built-in system for course correction.
Really, you can think of this as a continuous feedback loop. You track your progress, you see what's working and what's not, and you refine your strategy as you go. And what's so crucial here is that this isn't about throwing out the whole map and starting over every single year. Nope. It's about making small, intelligent adjustments to stay on the right path.
And at the end of the day, this is the payoff. A plan that evolves with you isn't just a piece of paper. It's a genuine source of stability in a really unstable world. It's about making sure your strategy stays relevant and, maybe most importantly, giving you the confidence to navigate your financial life at every single stage.
So I'll leave you with a final question to chew on. If your financial plan really is a living roadmap, what's the first detour, big or small, that you need to plan for right now?